the first question is that comes to my mind, and other people, would ask me, or they ask themselves, is why should I bother? I mean, there is natural elements of wanting to find a partner. There's the biological perspective, there's the emotional perspective, but is it really just about following the crowd and doing things just because of everyone else is doing it, or is there something deeper to it before you even try to find which ways you should approach it? The question is, why should you go towards it? How is it helping?
Well, the journey of the human being, and in Islam, the journey is supposed to lead us to our kamal, and we have that insan kamil as the perfect human being and perfection that we should go towards, right, to achieve your potential. So it's questionable that someone is able to achieve that potential without manifesting the role of being in a relationship with
being a husband,
with a woman.
Yeah.
Is it something that's very hard to achieve, or is it something that just can't be achieved? Because for example,
I think being married and saying qabiltu that's not what leads you into that growth. It's being in that relationship and looking at yourself grow as you share everything with another human being, and finding out so much more about yourself even that you didn't even know before.
You actually reflect onto your partner, and you're like, wow, I didn't know that about myself. I'm actually developing and growing as we speak.
Sometimes and your partner begins to know their self more, and they know you more. And certain times your partner knows you more, and you know your partner more. And you can help each other on your path. So this is a personal thing for me. Yeah. Sometimes I sit down and I'm going through something, and my wife would ask me what's wrong? And I'd say, I really don't have the words for it. I can't explain it. I have these deep feelings, but I can't explain. She says, it's me.
Is it hunger?
It's very dramatic.
He's like, you're probably hungry. Let me get you some food.
I didn't have the protein.
No, and you know what? The reason I'm narrating this story is because it really meant a lot to me this moment. When I was sitting down and she told me, just speak and I'll understand. Because I was thinking no one's going to understand because I don't know how to formulate my words into what I'm feeling. And so I just started speaking. Just random thoughts. And I'm like, there's this and then there's that. And I don't know what I'm saying as I'm saying it. She's just listening. And she says, Hassan, yeah, this is, related to that thing and that thing. Remember you went through that. And she starts speaking to me and she's understanding everything I'm saying. And I don't make sense. And that made me, honestly...
But she put things into perspective and made it sense for you.
Yeah, so you see, the answers are inside us, but having that companion there with you, who knows you so well, and you have that beautiful relationship and that bond and that trust, and you're both growing towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together, and that's the way it should be. It should be going to Allah and then coming together, not going down and keeping it a relationship that's on earth. You don't want that. You want a relationship that's going to elevate you both. And I think working together with that, and she provides that femininity that we really need in our lives, that compassion and that sacredness and that aspect that sometimes we lack, right? That kindness. And when that companion provides that, and of course we also provide certain attributes for them, it leads to our journey of perfection. It leads more into this. So of course we want to grow, we want to find a companion to get married, but I would say to do that when you're ready and mature enough, because this is the beautiful image of marriage, but marriage takes work. It takes a lot of work, and it's, of course, you can enlighten us with that as well. Like, marriage is something you must work.
I mean, look, it's marriage. Yes, it's compromise. It can be a struggle at times, but it's a very, very beautiful thing. And exactly how you said that you and your partner are building a relationship, building yourselves at the same time, and elevating yourself to another spiritual level. But getting to that stage, again, what you said, you need to be mature enough to, which doesn't always happen, especially the cultural issues where parents choose when you should get married and who you should get married to.
Islam it encourages early marriage, right?
Yeah, totally understand why as well.
Like young men, I find young men try to justify trying to find a wife at such a young age through Islam. When I can see they're not ready. And when I say ready, I don't mean have money or have a house. I remember when I was young, and when I was 18, and there was a girl that I liked, and I'm like, I'm trying to do this Islamically, but I had no plan, and I expected someone to give me their daughter, and to someone with no plan. So for my daughter, for example, if a young man came to me, a chivalrous young man, right, with fatwa, and the young man, and he came, and he had akhlaq and religion and deen, and that's what in the narrations it says to look at, not their wealth. He had akhlaq and deen, and he had a plan. So he's not the finished product, right? He's a young man, but he has a plan. He knows what he's doing. He's got his head screwed on right, and I trust his family. I know his parents, and he knows what he's doing. He's got a plan, and he knows what to do.
It's all logic and.
So it's about where you want to go. It's not about here's my 5-year plan.
No.
This
is
you where I see myself.
You have a foundation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To have a foundation and understand yourself. If you're still confused about life and you don't know where you're going, I think it's very unfair to bring someone on to that this journey with you. And I know the plans usually never go to plan. That's fine, exactly the way you plan them out. But to have a type of plan, like a specific goal that you're going towards, someone's entrusting you with another life.
No doubt. And
you can't feel entitled to, because the narration said so. You're not even ready yet. And now I'm talking in the physical world, but even spiritually, even mentally. Most young men in our generation are not ready at that young age. There are exceptions, and we should look at those exceptions, and we should have an open mind towards that, as if when we become fathers, inshallah, and we're going to entrust our daughters to someone. But at the same time, young men shouldn't feel entitled that this is my right by Allah. My right by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that's self-righteousness now.
Yeah.
Right? So I was that young man as well, who thought that we should get married early, but now I realize that would have been a devastation for me, because I know I wasn't ready at that time.
Definitely. I mean, I've got those, and I reflect those times that, although I'm still single now, there's many times where I look back and I'm like, alhamdulillah, because I was only looking at it from a certain perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do you balance, the whole aspect of this is what the narrations say, this is the sunnah, and this is the problem we're facing today? Why are we facing this problem today?
I think when it comes to, everyone says Quran, Sunnah, many times they take out of context that there's an interpreter for Quran and Sunnah.
Definitely.
And they just remove him out the way, and then they go to it themselves, and sometimes they come out with completely different, and this is not a small mistake, by the way. This is a gigantic mistake. This is a Protestant mistake, to override the ulama of old and the interpreters and stuff like that and do things yourself. But you must also understand that we have principles in our religion and in our fiqh, zaman wa makan, time and place.
Yeah. Right?
Time and place matters a lot. In the society we live in today, it's different to that society. So Imam Ali alayhi salam married Sayyidah Fatima Zahra alayhi salam when she was at a very young age, probably no older than 10, 11 years old. But women at that age, in that place and in that climate, was so different to a 10 and 11-year-old now. It's completely different. We can't take that as in people try to use that excuse, and then you find an 80-year-old man in Afghanistan marries a 9-year-old girl, and this young girl is oppressed for the rest of her life. I mean, are you going to use the narrations to justify that as well?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same approach.
But then you've also got the issue of that we're living in this very indecent, hypersexualized society. So although we have this issue of the young brothers and the young sisters who they want to get married, but they don't have this level of self-awareness within them, but they're being bombarded with all these issues, and it often leads to a distraction more than anything. Well, that's how it can feel at times. How can someone deal with that and prepare themselves on all different levels to get married when they're facing this situation?
That's a tough question to answer, to be honest with you. Again, it depends on the individual and what stage of life they're at. Their age, their mentality, their background, their financial status, what their parents think. These are all the factors that you need to put together. And I can give you my personal example. If anybody can benefit that, fantastic. I had to go through quite a few proposals, if that's what you want to call it. Obviously, the whole meet and greet. You sit down, you go to some either neutral venue, or you go to the girl's house and you meet their parents and you meet the girl and what have you, obviously keeping it, legit. And then if you wanted to move forward, which most of the times that was the case, then you start texting and talking and or emailing or meeting up, supervised or unsupervised sometimes. But and what you're really trying to do is getting to know this person and whether you want to live with this person for the rest of your life. Have you clicked? Do you understand each other? Is there a desire? Now, do not get confused with infatuation. Infatuation is a killer. Okay, you think you're in love, you're not. I've been obviously I've experienced this situation before, and then obviously let's say the other proposal that I was speaking to was really liking me and I could see she likes me, and I was like, well, that's all you want. If you find like a nice intelligent person who really likes you, is crazy about you, but then you think and say, how do you feel about that person? Will you be able to fake this, or will you be able to live with this person for the rest of your life? And that was a very difficult question to answer, and it was difficult saying no. But sometimes you have to. Now, going through all that, because I took it to a very systematic approach. But what I was doing, which nobody actually knew about, was I was actually praying. Because I had somewhat of a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I said, and I would pray to him after my prayers, I said, just please find me the right one. I don't know what I'm doing.
I think that's the most important thing, your relationship with Allah.
And that dua was answered. I kid you not, that dua was answered, because I used to spend months and even years speaking to a particular person for marriage purposes. But when the right one came, it happened like this. I cannot even tell you the time frame it took. And it was amazing to see that the person who I prayed for came. And that was it. The key thing was, when I try to take it upon myself to be like, no, I'm going to find the right one, I have an approach. I have a very nice systematic approach to this. No, who are you to determine this? Now, because I was sincere and I'm happy that I was praying, and there was actually certain, now this might sound a bit corny, but there was specific du'as that you could do for a spouse, and I looked into it.
That's not corny. That's progressive.
I'm glad you think that way, because I haven't actually revealed this until now, but I'm much mature now.
Beautiful.
It took time.
Yeah.
It wasn't overnight, and I remember doing it for quite a long time, and I actually got fed up at times, so it was a struggle to begin with. But when it happened, and because now, one benefit of me going through these past proposals is because I got to know quite a few different types of women. Now, that was a very good thing. So as soon as my current wife came into the picture, I already knew, okay, she tick, everything's going as planned. And then I just took that leap of faith, and that's it.
Yeah, I had faith in God.
And I did, and alhamdulillah, it's amazing how things came together. It really is.
A few points, on what you mentioned about going to the houses and meeting them.
Yeah.
A lot of young men don't understand the seriousness of that. So you're going into someone's house and they're trusting you to sit down with their daughter, So when you do that, of course you have to be as sincere as you can. You have to really want to get to know someone, not to think I can just go into several different houses and speak to as many as I want. Saying that now.
That's a bit deep.
Yeah, saying that now, when you're there, also so important to know, not to feel pressured that now because you're in the house that you have to do this and you have to go through with this. And you don't want to hurt anyone, but going in there, you're going to talk to what other way is, there aren't many other ways if you want to do it the traditional Islamic way. You're going to go through the parents, and that's good, but you're not obliged to go through and marry, and you should understand that. At the same time, always keep in mind that you're not playing, but you're right now you're involved with other people, and these people have feelings, and they're entrusting you. So you don't want to make that take so long. So if you're getting to know someone and you already know, look, it's not going to go well, you should say that and be honest with them from the very beginning, so that there is no attachment formed
between
you two, right? And if you need more time, so for example, my teacher, when he speaks to young men, I've seen give advice to them. He says that don't take too long before you make your decision of carrying on or not. And if you want to carry on, it doesn't mean you have to, but it means it's very likely to happen. So you want to go and you want to understand this family and this young woman, but at the same time, you don't want to get too close, just in case you don't want to continue with this, and that might be the likely outcome.
Guys, we've gone deep, but that's all we have time for today. Until next time.